All right. I feel like I didn't do as good of a job as I could have last time talking about starting your seeds. Um, so this is kind of a little bit better introduction to growing your own, feeding yourself, growing your own plants. And this is pretty universal. I'm not going to go into specific plants because every plant has different needs. Which is one of the reasons why I talk about an all-purpose fertilizer. Um, Having an all-purpose fertilizer is really helpful because it gives you, you see those numbers right under vegetable garden, the 444. It's giving you just a balance of the first one's going to be nitrogen, second one's going to be phosphorus, and third one's going to be potassium. You see them as NPK. Plants need all of those things. There's a lot of that stuff that gets broken down and you get it from compost, okay? Some type of manure usually, some type of nitrogen. You can get that from coffee grounds. You can get the potassium and some phosphorus and potassium from banana peels. And then the rest of it's going to come from like a meal, either bone meal, fish meal. You see people burying fish in their thing. You have bat guano and regular manure. Now manure takes longer to break down, but it's okay as long as it's not like too heavy as part of your mix. So I usually do like a 50-50, or I'll do like more of this, two of these to one of these, you know? People will tell you to buy some expensive potting soil, and they're fantastic. I mean, to start with, because it has all the same stuff, you know? It's got the bat guano, and it's got all these extra things. It's got aeration and whatnot. But you're going to spend like, between 20 and 40 bucks for a bag like that. Even something like this, it's going to be 20 bucks. And now, topsoil is what you need. You can dig it out of your earth from your garden, or you can just buy it. You know, this is $3 versus 20 bucks or 40 bucks. Okay, this is $3. So $6 for both of these instead of buying one of these. The only thing extra you really only need is a little extra aeration. Now, when you buy a generic topsoil like this, it's gonna have some sticks. It might even have some rocks. Like, it's not just, it's earth, but it's stuff, you know? So it has some aeration. It's not super compact. It's not completely clay. So it works good for what you need. But if you need extra aeration, then you're gonna add things that usually will come in these fancier things like Perlite or Vermiculite. Whenever you look at a potting soil, you know, Miracle Grow or something like that, they always have these little white stones. And those things are either like volcanic glass or something else. I can't remember what they're, Perlite or Vermiculite. They're made to help aerate. So you get drainage. You don't want your stuff to be drowning. So Vermiculite's really good for retaining water and nutrients. It absorbs it and it makes little things for, I call it like a little condo for microbes. You need the microbes to break down your stuff in your soil, okay? They want to break down the poo. So it's good to have, I usually will include some type of sugar and even baker's yeast sometimes to get extra microbes in my soil, because once you get some water and they'll start to eat all the stuff, they eat the sugars and multiply, and then that breaks down the things faster. So it's really easy to get the things that you need. Other things that you'll need will be like calcium and magnesium and sulfa. So eggshells, I'll take my eggshells and I'll bake them 250 for like a half hour. Just dries them out just enough to throw them in the food processor, or you can pulverize them by hand if you want, but then they break down really easy. And then you're gonna need some like magnesium and sulfur and stuff. So you could use some Epsom salt. I have this fancy, I bought this C90. It's hard to read it, but it's a bunch, it's like 90 different minerals, and I probably spent 20 bucks on that. But a bag of Epsom salt, probably twice the size of that, is like 20 bucks, 10 bucks. So it's just all about learning to maximize your value. So instead of buying all these expensive, fancy things, you could really spend $6 here and, you know, a bag of Epsom salt, and, you know, you save your eggshells. It's really easy to start. Instead of spending $30 or $40 on that, I spent $40 on that. And this is multiple bags of fertilizer. And I've only used one. It came with 3 of these, and I haven't even used the whole thing. It filled this thing up to the top, and that's like 3 years. So nitrogen, like I said, coffee grounds, phosphorus, and potassium you can get from banana peels. Same thing, phosphorus and potassium. Yeah, yeah. And then eggshells, some Epsom salt. I do like to spend a little extra on some fungal thing, but I think this was 20, or it might be $50. This is a pretty big can. I can't remember how much that was. But if you can get some, they call it vermicompost. It's made from worms, worm secretions. It's worm poo basically. But that has a lot of mycorrhiza fungus in there, and that's a fungus that helps break down the nutrients and helps the roots uptake it. So I've got a heating mat because they prefer to be warmer. I got my temperature thing on there. You can see it's 85 degrees on the mat, so it's heating those from the top. So we'll see some growth. I've got my other ones sitting outside. I'll show you. Well, actually, shoot, come on. Excuse the mess. Because I don't have a very powerful light on them right now, I have some plants that are starting to stretch, and they're starting to grow out of there. They're getting really tall, and you can see them. Now, what I'm waiting for is for these to get 3 leaves on them, and then I'll be able to pull them out and put them in their own thing. Broccoli I got to put back in the shade because it's struggling. It's loving the sun, but it's getting a little burned. And once I have my greenhouse set up, the other thing they're getting is wind. You'll see how this one's knocked over. The wind is helping them get stronger. They'll have to embrace themselves. I could run a fan in there, but again, I'm saving money, man. Every bit I can. And you can see we got growth. These are all planted around the 11th and 12th, so we're right about 10 days. And you can see I put up a tripod so I could record this. I spent about 20 minutes worth of work, and I've probably spent like an hour worth of just uploading them to YouTube and adding things. But yeah, these are those tool killers, man. I would have to be digging these things out of some garden machinery. Be fantastic if I were rich. But I'm doing this by hand. I want to break up the soil wider than what I had measured because I want to have a lot of space. And I have something that I'm going to be using eventually. I did this for all the stuff that I've planted so far. I got this 1/2 inch, metal screen, and I just shovel the soil into this thing, and then I can just shake it out, get all the rocks out really easy. It's not perfect. Otherwise, I would probably use my wagon, but I'm almost. Oh, I got to get back to work. I'm burning daylight, but I wanted to try to record some more stuff about the progress. And then tonight I'll probably upload a short of me burning this pile. It won't be here. I'm going to move it over to the pile. But I got to wait until 4 o'clock. We got a burn notice on, so I want to be careful. And I don't want anything else to come up. But you can see where we're at. And you see what I'm talking about. I will work more on this as the day comes. I'm probably about a quarter of the way. Well, whatever. It's 20 feet, so yeah, I'm about a third of the way. To be continued. If you have any feedback, any stuff that I left out, if you think about it, please, leave your comments in and whatever, like and subscribe.